Hello, hello. Happy Saturday. Welcome to Party Wipe, episode 53. We're working on a roguelike deck builder where you draft an RPG party. How's it going? Hope everyone's having a good weekend. Hey, shenanigans. All right. Got some chill game dev planned for today. Bittersweet. There was a playtesting event tonight that I was hoping to bring this game to, back when that seemed like a possibility. When we weren't quite so behind. But it's all right. We've got 1 month, about less than a month actually. Got a short period of time until the next playtest opportunity. And so we're just working, trying to get to that point. Ship it. Exactly, Nanigans. That's all we can do. Try to ship it. I liked your character shader stuff. I looked at that. That was good looking. Good looking. I feel like if I keep doing this kind of kit bashing approach, I feel like someday I will make like a down-res 3D game. It'll be exciting times. You're attempting to draw some of your own character reference sheets right now to then model your own character. Ooh. That's gonna be involved. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do all the 3D stuff. I wouldn't be able to do it. I can manage if I really take my time. I can manage 2D. All right, I don't know. We seem to be in an okay place. At the moment here, I don't see any glaring things where I'm like, ooh, I could do that. Oh, I could do that instead of real work. I feel okay about the end turn button being here. I have some extra space here. I might eventually want to do something to like draw attention to it. Like if you run out of stuff to do in a turn, maybe it would be beneficial to like highlight it or something. Something. Nanigans, you think you've spent 8 hours just on drawing the reference images? Because it's something you're not strong with. We're almost done. And time to toss it in a blender and see how you fare. Common convention is to have it make a subtle flash or something if there's nothing else you can do. Yeah, we'll do something. I don't know what it would be. Maybe there will be like a... Maybe I do like some kind of dotted line convention on the UI level. I don't know. It's a good question. I could also just highlight it. But I don't exactly want to do that. It's surprisingly hard to do that for buttons. Your only real option is to have it seize focus. Which I guess we could do if there was like nothing else to do. You just have the end turn button seize focus. And you can like take focus back somewhere else. Like manually if you're still thinking about playing a card or something. Yeah, I don't know. We could see. We could see. I really need to start working on actions, defining actions, action tagging for the cards here. So we start doing things. That's like really crucial. Probably gonna work on that on Monday. Try not to do anything Sunday. I do need to set up some abilities because we can't even really equip abilities right now. So maybe I should write some ability cards or something. But what I kind of want to do is I kind of want to mock up this, well, we've already mocked it up. I kind of want to implement this mock-up of the turn tracker. So I'd mock it up at different sizes. Kind of want to do that. I'm pretty happy with this. I think what'll happen, so the only trick is that there's a difference in terms of spacing here, but that's okay. Because I think the way this will work is actually we'll put all of the icons and arrows in like an HBox container. And then we can just swap the little Pac-Man pellets for the arrow. Because the arrow will just point at the next person to go. I'm tempted of doing some kind of washout for characters that have already gone. Also be good to assign a hotkey for end turn 2. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I kind of need to hook up UI accept and UI exit. Don't forget about trying out the border color for enemy or unit. Hey, Nojul. I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think it's a bad idea. I just don't think it's necessary. I'm open to the idea of coloring the arrow. I don't love that. Maybe I'm not open to that idea. I think between the fact that enemies always look to the left and your characters always look to the right, with the fact that you will get very familiar very quickly with your 4 heroes, I don't see it as being a major issue. But I get that if you're looking at it and you have no familiarity with it, you'll be like, what? As we build out the enemy roster side of things, we might come up with some conventions that helps us distinguish between party members and enemies. At the moment, we don't have any, but I'm open to the idea. How is this like all the way? Oh, that's something else. What is that? Undo button. Very weird. Hey Sapphire, how's it going? Happy Saturday. So I think all I really have to do right now is fill in the background. Not too bad. Not ready for the weekend to be already half over. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I was thinking about still going to that playtesting event tonight, even though I won't be doing any playtesting. Like, I won't have the game. But I'm also like, I am so tired. I'm like, I would love maybe an evening where I don't do anything. So how much do we chop this down for a given character being missing? I guess we can just copy these. It doesn't really matter where this arrow is, as long as we keep consistency between the first and the last. Because the arrow will always be somewhere in the middle. I guess theoretically it might be gone if there's no one going next. Like if you've reached the end of the run. I have like a loop back around arrow, but it's much higher resolution than this. I don't think I want to use it exactly. Hey, Arnio. Looks good. Thanks. Yeah, it's our little turn tracker. How's it going? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what quite to do with the arrow when it gets to the end. I guess we could mock that up at this moment. So what if I moved the arrow? Or essentially got rid of it. So that makes a pretty big difference. It's a pretty big difference. Wonder if there's something we could do. What if we move this over? For when, like, we reach the end of the turn and wrap back around. I could just put the arrow back at the beginning. Or I could put the arrow here at the end. Arnio, only space for 9 people, though, by your account. That's okay, because that's, I think, actually our limit. No worries. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the flyby, Sapphire. Hey, LSG. How's it going? Happy Saturday. Sapphire lost some sleep last night. Did LSG find it? That would be his job. Lost sleep recovery. Yeah, so if we look at... So, Arnio... If we look at this... We've got the end turn button here, so we're limited in what we can do. But even if we didn't, like if we were talking about the enemy roster side, I don't think we have room for more than 1 additional character. So we're limited to 5. So we've got 4 on the friendly side and 5 on the right side. And you know what? I think that's going to be okay. Because there's going to be a lot of reinforcing. So I actually think it's good to keep the hero to enemy count close to 1-to-1. Not exactly, but close to 1-to-1, assuming the party is full. Because in games like D&D, the action economy is so lopsided if you have more characters at play than the other person. And, you know, we're not talking about like mob rules or whatever. We're talking about like, that's why it's so hard for single target bosses to like do well in that kind of a game, because they just get absolutely like mobbed by the players, which is why, you know, they've come up with things like legendary actions and like lair actions and stuff like that, so that a boss in his lair, or, you know, you just give them ads or something, you give them like little extra mobs. So I think that's okay. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have doors or gaps or like whatever throughout the level, and those are gonna be points at which you can either play reinforcing characters or monsters can appear. So if the enemy roster starts to collapse down, we can reinforce it. We can have kind of a system. There might be some strategy there too, where you want to like wipe out the enemy so that they don't have time to reinforce. And we can have encounters that have like multiple turns worth of like stuff that's gonna happen. I don't think there's room for my wraparound arrow thing. Let's see about using maybe the pathfinding arrow. Doing like a version of like this, but what if we took this? Well, not this one. What if we took... Would it be better to just have 2 arrows? I was thinking about doing like a wraparound kind of arrow. Would it be better to just have an arrow at the beginning and an arrow at the end if we reach the end? Don't exactly have room for that as this is written or drawn or whatever. But we could tighten up the distance between these a little bit. It's quite a lot. Would that be good? I'm just gonna like get rid of one of these icons and see what that looks like. Four is a pretty classic RPG size. I think 4 is a classic RPG size because of like consoles. Yeah, Nanigan says it's like 3 to 6 is standard, and that's true for like D&D. But I think for like video games, I think we've settled around 4 because that's like usually the number of players that one could have. You know. So what if it was like something like this, where it went back around? I don't love that. What I'd probably do is just put the arrow back at the beginning. So let's see if we have room for that. So all I want to do is move these down. It seems like we definitely have room for that. Do we still have room for that? Maybe. This is a little close. But that could work. Could work. What we'd probably want is a little more room. That's how I would probably do the wraparound. If you were on like the last character in the series, I'd probably move the arrow back to the beginning, back to the top. So these will need to be very dynamical, which is fine. So let's decide how much we chop off because of a missing character. It should be like 34. 34 should be the number. Let's just see if that's true. So if we got rid of one character. Well, that's not exactly how we would do it. Get rid of this. Move this down. Actually, how much would we move it down? What am I doing here? It goes to here. Everyone's having a good weekend so far. There we go. Do this. Oh, Joel, you kind of like the bright color for your own units. Send a picture. Okay, I will look at that. Look at that. Is the order determined by some sort of speed stat? I don't think so. I think what it's going to be is the party and the party will sort itself randomly. So your 4 party members will randomly sort themselves. And then the 4 enemy characters will also randomly sort themselves. And then we'll just interleave those 2 groups so that there's like a fairly even spacing between the groups. You completed the main campaign of Diablo 4 today. Final boss is a little underwhelming. Overall, pretty good. Yeah, I remember the final boss being kind of like, I was like, is that it? Are we done? It was a fun game. Definitely a fun game. Ooh, I cut off too much. This is, I think, too much. So let's move this back out. And then we'll look at what NoJewel shared. Although am I... Maybe do I have the wrong amount of this stuff? I want to check one more thing before we do this. I don't know if this arrangement is longer. It seems like this arrangement is longer than this arrangement. Because, yeah, this one to the right is further than this one. So that is probably the right thing to look at. All right, let's see what NoJewel was sharing with us. Oh, yeah, you shared a brighter color. Yeah, that actually is what we would use, isn't it? That's available to us. So I copied, and actually this needs to change. You're actually right. And one of these changes was going to get made. Maybe some item can guarantee first action. Maybe. You could have some abilities that swaps actions or swaps turn orders or something. Like maybe the rogue can like reinsert themselves wherever they want in the turn order or something like that. We could probably have some cool stuff. What are we looking at? We're looking at the roster tab. So yeah, we actually shouldn't be using the darker color here. We should be using the brighter outer color. However, we could use the darker color for enemies. I don't hate that idea. So we do have a darker tone and a lighter tone. And we actually need to switch to this being the lighter tone because one of my ideas is to do this up like a health bar. So like as your health bar fills up, you would like, where's the best place to put this? Probably here. you would like fill their bar with their health with this mid-tone color. It's getting distorted here, but you get the idea. So I wanted to use their roster tab as a health bar, but that means that this color is too much of a mid-tone for doing that. So these actually need to change. I hadn't changed them because I hadn't actually set that up yet, but that's a good point. That is something we should be doing. So we can switch these to be brighter. Because they will be when we actually use them. But I do like the idea of using the darker tone for like enemies, maybe? Maybe? I have to set up that health bar thing soon. So yeah, that's not a terrible idea. So your idea is like using that brighter color. What in the heck is going on here? But only for the player characters. That's pretty reasonable. Because then you can still get a hint of their level, because there's still a color tied to their level. Yeah, I don't mind that. Good idea. Imagine the RNG giving first action to the boss wipes a unit before you can do anything. That is why we roll the party amongst itself, and then we order the enemies amongst themselves, and then we interleave them. Because we can interleave them. My intention is to interleave them so a friendly character always goes first. An enemy character will never go first. If you're outnumbered, that might kind of make your life hard, but that's better than, yeah, dying on the first round. Yeah, I've been trying to play How Many Dudes in a pretty completionist way. Sorry, one second. I think the only game you 100% of everything is Baldur's Gate 3. That's crazy. That seems like the game that's the most impossible to 100% by far. Because it's essentially a hypertext as a game. But yeah, I'm trying to kind of completionist play How Many Dudes, because it's kind of a background game. It's kind of chill to just leave on. But man, they make it hard. They make it very difficult and kind of boring to do that. So I don't know if I'm going to keep up with that forever. I do like the game. But they have this system where like there's new difficulty levels. There are these difficulty levels. There's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And you can only bring a character. You only have access to a character in the higher tiers if you've won the game with them in the lower tiers. And it's each tier. So it's like I've beaten the game with most characters at tier 1, but I've only beaten the game with like a handful of characters at tier 2, and I haven't beaten the game with any characters at tier 3 because I haven't felt like playing tier 3 yet because I haven't felt like I had a big enough pool of characters to play. And I didn't really want to play exactly the build that I played to beat tier 2, you know what I mean? It's really annoying. And so each time I try to play tier 1, I try to win with a whole new set of characters, which is just slow. It's just slower. It's just kind of a slow way to play. I want to make sure that this works in this order, just to be very careful here. But yeah, it's become a bit of a slog. Luckily, it's an auto battler, so I can kind of just have it on in the background. But it's maybe like one reason the game's not absolutely perfect. But it's pretty good. I've enjoyed it. Okay, I think I want to reposition the cutoff slightly. Like that. That end up being like basically 34. Close. Close, but not exact. So this is what you'll see at the beginning of a round of combat. You'll see like who's up first, and then like who's up after that. And then when you advance, the arrow will move forward to whoever's turn is going to be up next. I think that's reasonable. Talking about Hollow Knight and Silksong. Yeah, I never got into that. I've tried to play Hollow Knight a couple of times. I think it's the fact that I don't like platformers and I don't like Souls-likes. I think the combination just kind of was a brutal combination for me. But I acknowledge how well a production that is. How like solid that game is. Either of them, both of them, whatever. We'll keep moving things down. We're just kind of chilling today. Why are there 2 of these all of a sudden? What did I do? Oops. All right, take it easy, Nanigans. Yeah, I really need to be done with the UI stuff. I'm continuing to work on it because it's comfortable. It's pretty self-evident. And I'm tired. But yeah, we need to stop. We need to be done with the UI stuff. We're working on other things. But yeah, have a great rest of your weekend here. Hopefully we're working on something else. on Tuesday. Working on actually getting a game loop going. I feel somewhat stuck at the moment in this game, and I think as soon as I get the gameplay loop going, I will feel unstuck. So that'll be good. So yeah, we're just going to make the different sizes for the backgrounds here. I acknowledge that I could theoretically do this with the 9 patch. And I might eventually do something like that to make a more dynamic UI, but at the moment, I'm just doing everything kind of like this. And it's just what we're going to do. I don't love the imprecision of the UI positioning stuff. And we've kind of rejected it so far. Okay, bye, Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out. All right, this should be relatively easy to finish up. I could try to get clever about packing, but I probably won't. And then we'll just build the scene in Godot, and we'll be okay place. We're not really in a position to be able to test this, but we can do a little bit. I might play a little Baldur's Gate 3 today. I've been trying to play Avowed. And there's something I just don't vibe with in Avowed. I think it's mainly the combat. The combat is good. The thing about it is the combat is like so much better than like Elder Scrolls combat. So much better. So maybe I just misjudged which archetype I'd want to play. I'm playing like kind of a mage. But I'm actually kind of not enjoying. I like visually, I think mage is the most interesting in terms of decisions and stuff. Playing some kind of mage character. Like the effects are cool, the decision making is good. It's pretty frantic, the combat. But now I'm like, maybe I just want to like bludgeon my way through everything. Which the game is cool because it lets you respec. Although it doesn't, you can't respec your gear, so I'd have to find new gear. So I don't know. I'll have to decide. But that's part of the reason why I was like, oh, maybe I'll try to play Baldur's Gate 3 again. I want to play some kind of RPG, but yeah, Avowed is not doing it for me right now. It's a little too Mass Effect as well. It's basically fantasy Mass Effect. In the same way that like Outer Worlds is like Oblivion or Obsidian's take on Fallout, kinda. I feel like Avowed is like Obsidian's take on like the Elder Scrolls games, which is good because they're already making a Fallout game again, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make a Elder Scrolls game at some point too. I think Obsidian is good. Pentiment is maybe one of the greatest games of all time. Pentiment is incredible. If not mechanically, then in terms of like the story and like everything that like the way the game is structured. Very different kind of game though. I wonder if I need a version of this that shows one character. Probably not. I actually probably don't want to... There's probably a limit to the amount I want to truncate this, actually. And it probably has to do with text information. Because I want a hoverable version of this that expands out and, like, tells you what it is. Like... combat turn order or something like that. So there's probably an extent to which I actually don't want to shrink this. Maybe not below half size. Something like that. It actually seems reasonable. So maybe I'll go down to 4 and then I'll stop. That seems reasonable. Vowed looks cool, like Dragon Age kinda. Yeah, I guess that's reasonable. To me, Dragon Age is already like fantasy Mass Effect, so that seems reasonable. That's probably a more correct comparison. Which, I played the first 2 Dragon Age games. I kind of liked them. I'll tell you one thing I like about Avowed. They don't bother you to like have to control your fucking AI companions. They at least have a mind of their own, which I know is a source of great frustration for many people, but for me, I'm just like, don't make me figure this out. Don't make me like micromanage every single character, which is probably one of I'm probably going to yet again bounce off of Baldur's Gate 3 for that reason. But I'm going to try anyway. At least it's turn-based. Avowed is like real time. Avowed is weird. They still have that Elder Scrolls problem which is like you can just pause the game and eat a bunch of food. So you're expected to pause the game and eat like a feast when you're like in the middle of combat to not die, and I'm like, this feels weird. So this would just start to center itself, wouldn't it? Not quite sure how it would center itself, but it would. Yeah, so this is probably what'll happen as we get smaller than 5. I think I'm okay with that. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not okay with that. In which case, instead of a window that expands, what we'll probably do is a tool tipping thing. Probably do some kind of tooltip so that if you mouse over it, instead of it expanding out and reading out like combat turn order or something, instead it just shows you an additional window below. That's probably what I'm going to do. So we probably will continue to shorten these. Hey, Nix. Thanks for the hydrate. How's it going? Anyone tried this lesser-known isometric RPG called Tyranny? You failed to complete it 3 times, but you like it? That's cool. That's like in the Pillars of Eternity series, I think. That's their one. That's like every dungeon party's like dream. That's the game where like you play the bad guy. You play a bad guy. Yeah, I don't know why I don't like those games much either. It's weird because it's a genre that I would expect myself to be predisposed to liking, like CRPGs. But I don't. And it's interesting. All right, do we start to pack these up? So 4, 3, 2, 1. I could pack these, couldn't I? Do we care though? Do we care enough to pack these? I don't think so. What we'll probably do is we need a highlight version of this. And we'll probably put that on the opposite end. That's probably what we'll do. Zem the Tem. Hello, fellow Godot user. Hello. And a Godot good day to you. How's it going? Arnia, you like the story? Just for once you don't start as a complete nobody. You have some authority to begin with. Yeah. You start the game, if I understand correctly, as like a lieutenant of like the ultimate evil. Pretty cool. Cool idea. I like a good RPG where you start as nobody. But when you do that, it's really hard to like actually rope a person into a story when you do that. Really tough. Whether you're talking about a TTRPG or like a video game. Your only real recourse is to be like, oh, they're the chosen one. So I like that setup. That setup is good. Avowed has a smart setup too. You start as basically like a diplomatic envoy to like a distant empire, which has an interest in this place that you've come to. So you have like some authority, but it's like tenuous at best. Smart. It's a smart way to start. It lets you be an outsider while still having some pull with like the local authority figures. Yeah, I think that's always a struggle with especially TTRPGs. It's like, how do you get the players into the story? Like, how do you enmesh their character in such a way that they like have a reason to do anything that's not like just pure metagaming? You're doing well. How about me? I'm doing all right. We're having a chill day. We're having a chill day trying to wrap up some UI work. This is our little turn timeline counter thing where we're painting the little background atlas for it, instead of doing it as a 9 patch, which I know we could do. I'm just making a little thing. We're making a little thing for our Roguelike Deckbuilder, where you draft an RPG party. We're wrapping up some UI work, so we can get to work more on the actual combat. Hey, Sabby. How's it going? Maybe a dumb question, but can't you use something like a 9 slice for this? Yes. Probably not saving much by doing that since it's pixel art. That's been my problem. That's been my problem with trying to use Godot UI panels. Is they're surprisingly like the least pixel perfect thing that I've encountered in Godot. I think eventually we'll probably switch to that if we try to like create a more dynamic UI with maybe more like local language support and stuff. We'll probably rebuild some things with that in mind, but yeah, for this initial version, I'm just like hard coding everything. We already have a pattern for like how to work with this sort of thing, but yeah, it's a good point, Sebby. I never guarantee that my workflow is the best or even acceptable. I don't know if we have to have one of these that represents just one character. Because if that's true, you'll have won or lost. But we'll complete the series just for completeness sake here. I don't know if this will ever practically come into play. We're not hard coding like all of this stuff. Like that, all of the filler is going to be dynamically put in with like an H box. We're not total Luddites here. Would that I were. Still sleep deprived, Nix. Rip author. Yeah, you don't need to try to justify why I'm doing this. I don't pretend that my workflows are efficient. Especially when I'm just chilling like this. I kind of like having some amount of the downtime. I like having some amount of mindless busy work. I think it's good to kind of unfocus your brain sometimes and just kind of work on stuff. This is sufficient for now. This is how we do like the party rosters. Like our party roster works the same way. It's like it sizes up as more members join the roster and sizes down if they don't. And so all we're probably going to change here is we'll have an outlined version probably. Probably. I don't know. I want to mock this up because we're ready to move past what I call the deployment phase, which we actually probably want to add a deployment phase button back here. I probably want a thing here that says freely move your party in the deployment phase or during deployment or something like that. Something up here. Free move in deployment during something like that. Figure it out. You did complete a big part of the code for your mod. You're still on track for finishing this weekend. Nice. Sam the Tam, are you using custom resources for party members? You recently gotten into learning about custom resources for a few days now. You've been coding some resources for Pokemon-like beings. Surprisingly fun. Yeah, so everyone, all of our stuff is backed with a card. So in our game, the cards are the nouns. So these are all weapons. Because that's what I've been testing. And they can be equipped. So an instance of a character is not a resource, but each instance of a character derives from a resource. So like Nyx the Knight here derives from a level 1 Knight card. So if we happen to find a level 1 Knight card, which might take a minute. Here it is, level 1 Knight card. So this is like all of the information that we use to build this knight. And we also have a resource for a level 2 knight card. So these stats don't change yet because I haven't written what the stats are going to be like for higher level characters. But they have things like information. Like we know that one of our slots is unlocked. And yes, I use resources for these. So every card is backed by a resource because all instances of a card is like, they all share the data, right? Like it's not like one card has different data than another card. It could if you do like a Slay the Spire style where you can level up your card and like upgrade them and stuff. Like you could have individual card resources Or not individual, but you could have like unique cards that have changed, but we don't currently do that. So what we have is we have a bunch of card resources, and these actually are all individual resources. So these are all of our cards. So like the hero cards are like these. They have like lists of their proficiencies. They have icons associated with each one, so we know how to fill in their character sheet, like what icons should be there. They have their stats. They have the textures for their card backs and their icons, you know. And yeah, we use a plugin to manage these. We use Yard, which is short for yet another resource database. Yeah. So this is what we use to manage all of our resources, and it's kind of neat. This plugin has some runtime querying stuff you can do, which is neat. So I can be like, give me the card that's a bard at level 3. Or I could even be like, give me all the cards that are two-handed. You know? Because it's actually neat. We've got like, you know, all the characteristics of the weapon cards. We're heading into ads. Hold on to the ads. Some interesting ideas, like a doppelganger enemy. Hey, Static Shadow, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. You're probably stuck in ads, but I appreciate you hanging out here with us today. If you can hear me, thank you. All right, so we're gonna pop this out. Turn order tracker. Sprite Atlas. Set this up. Set this up somewhere, probably here. Turn manager. We'll probably just call this turn tracker. What we'll do for now, we'll lay this out with the center top alignment. We'll do a slight offset. How far are you offset? 3? Yeah, also 3. So we'll just start. So in here, what we want is we want an HBox container. Where we'll put the icons in the HBox container. Anchors, full rect. I kind of want them to be in the center. Hopefully that's how they'll deploy. Alignment, center. That's what we want. Yeah, I haven't actually set up a 9 patch. Really? What do they call it here? 9 patch rect. We could probably use one of these. Probably been easier than hard coding everything, but fine. Again, I'm like not convinced. I'm very skeptical of most of the control nodes. I don't like them. Let's load. this. I need to make atlas textures. Do you have any lore set up for the game? A little. I know why the world is the way it is. I know what the conflicts of the world are. I know what the characters are and why they're doing the things they're doing. It's not a big lore game. It's a roguelike. It's a little bit more systematic and a little bit more loose than maybe a regular RPG. Turn tracker. Atlas texture. Turn tracker. Should we just number them? 9. Probably have been interesting to explore using a 9 patch with this for this, but we've already chosen the path. The hardest part about this is going to be repositioning it. Maybe it would be worth trying a 9 patch for this. Because repositioning to the center is going to be annoying as fuck. Roguelikes can have big lore. No, I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying a lot of them are more systematic. Like Spelunky. Spelunky has big lore, but people aren't like yelling at you all the time about it. Just because if you're playing the cycle over and over and over again, you don't want these big dialogue things that are like, you don't want a ton of exposition. So you can have a ton of lore, but you don't want big exposition in a roguelike. That's my intention. Because roguelikes are so much about the loop. You want to give them hints at it. Like Darkest Dungeon 2 has a lot of lore, but there aren't these long, monologues about it. You like discover it through play. All right, take it easy, Nix. All right, how do I want to do this? Do I want to do swaps? Because this is going to be pegged to here. You know what? Let's do it. Let's try it. Let's see what this is like. If we like it, we'll use it more. We'll use it more often. Let's give it a try. We're going to try a 9 patch. I don't have anything else going on today. I'm not convinced this is what we want, but we're going to try it. Draw center. All right, I want to look at the documentation for this because I have not actually prepped one of these before. Not in Godot. When you scale the node, it tiles the texture's edges. So the tiling needs to be whatever the size of the increment and decrement is. So how is that going to work if we get down to like this? I'm down to explore this approach, but it's not looking incredible. It's not looking incredibly helpful. We change the grid. Be 34 by 34. Maybe this is okay. Maybe this is okay. What if we shifted this about a little bit? Okay, so this lines up here, and then it starts to slip. So it can't actually be 30, whatever. It could be this, though. What is this? 18? So what if we gridded this? And what's in between? 16? It's unfortunate. Basically, make one square sprite, set the margin and the width of the border, and then it would scale up. Yeah, that's the trick, though, is what's the size? What's the size? It's probably this. I mean, it can't be smaller than this corner piece, which is 8 by 8. And it needs to be more than 8 by 8. We have 18 here. And then so what's this divided by 18, right? Or like go to the grid. So this is what it would be, essentially. And how many is this? Does this cleanly scale? It doesn't quite cleanly scale. So it can't exactly be this, but it could be close. That's probably okay. I probably have a little wiggle room in that I could probably bring this end in a little and not really notice. Because this is the worst case scenario, is when the arrow is here. When the arrow moves in, we get a little bit more breathing room. So yeah, I'd have to move this in a little. But it can't be 18 by, it can't be 18 pixels across because the corner is not 18, right? Hatch margin, draw center, region rect. Should smartly extrude the borders so they don't need to tile perfectly. You're going to try to finish your anchor. Focus lurk mode engaged. Nice. Good luck, Arnu. Okay, I can set different margins for the sides. The fact that the sides and the corners need to match probably means we can't really do this. Unless I specifically... I guess if I can divide this into 3 chunks, I could maybe do it. I don't think 34 divides cleanly. I made it 33, I could do it, but I don't really want to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might just accept... I think the sizing here kind of precludes it from being super effective. I know I could maybe try to introduce some negative space here. The fact that the top and the corner need to match up, and the left and the corner needs to match up. Like, the fact that the corner is beholden to 2 different margin sizes means you really need all of these all of the patches to be, like, similar. Is my understanding. And that's really not the case with what we've got going on here. Surprisingly dynamic. Okay. We'll try it. Rectangular region of the texture to sample from. If you're working with an atlas, use this property to find the area the 9 slice should use. All other properties are relative to this one. If the rect is empty, the 9 patch will use the whole texture. Okay. Kind of want to see if this is more helpful in the online docs. If there are any pictures or anything. They do not. Tile. Hey, Rhiannon. So what I could conceivably do is set the size to be like 12 or something. As long as I include an extra pixel of empty space in that. So we size it up to 36 instead of 34. We just have a couple of empty pixels on the outside. Let's try that. Let's try it. So I'm going to make a new sprite that's 36 by 36. I'll grab this. Actually, I could go down and grab one of these. It doesn't matter. So this is going to be our base. Because this can be divided cleanly into a 3x3 grid. You've given yourself a lot of editing to do. I hope it's worth it. Yeah, I would minimize the amount of times that you totally re-edit your tree gameplay trailer. That seems brutal. It seems like a brutal activity to be doing often. Because your gameplay trailer is really communicating, like, not the specifics of the moment to moment, but like the feel of it. So if if you change a mechanic a little bit, I don't think that necessarily warrants a whole gameplay trailer change. But I understand. I understand why you're doing it in this specific case. All right. 9 patch rect sprite atlas. All right, let's see. Let's see if we absolutely hate this. I certainly don't mind, not hard coding this. Why can't you find this? Where are you saved? Party wipe sprites UI. You saved as like something weird? No. Okay. There we go. Draw center, hatch margin. It's going to be 12 by 12 by 12 by 12. Why did that just distort itself? Oh, because its size is probably not 36. Its size is probably 40. Okay, okay. And then if I start to, I guess we'll just see. So I'm going to leave this centered. So the reason I'm doing this is because I absolutely do not want to have to worry about repositioning this thing. Like, I very much do not want to be concerned with that. So we're going to try it. And we'll just start filling the HBox container with stuff. It does mean I need to make some things that we can fill it with. I think I have an icons thing that I can use. You only collected clips before, so you didn't waste too much work. You completely overhauled the look of the equipment. You're really happy with the new look. You want to show it off? No, yeah, I get that. I understand you like totally redid the equipment thing. I think that's reasonable. It just feels like every choice in solo dev is hard, though, you know? It's like, oh, I'll just spend a weekend redoing the trailer, and it's like, well... But yeah, I think that's cool. That's part of the reason why I'm pushing the look of this game so hard up front. I'm really trying to forestall that sort of an issue. Like, I really don't want to have to... Okay, so I already have an icon frames sprite atlas here. This doesn't include the darkered color variations, but it could. So we'll just alter the colors here. Grab these. Whoa. So yeah, we'll have a darker colored version of the sprite icons. Okay. Now let's go find these icons. Yeah, here we go. Icon hover, level 1. I want to rename these. So I want to say like highlight or low light. So we'll call this icon hover level 1, highlight. Maybe I put highlight first instead of at the back. Highlight, icon hover level 1. And if the 9 patch doesn't resize properly, you can use a panel container, assign it to a style box texture, and you can set a 9 patch texture on the panel. And it'll be in a container flow. I don't like panels. Panels anti-alias and do weird stuff, but it's probably fine. We can probably customize that, make it work. My experience so far with panels has been less than stellar in terms of pixel art precision, but that's almost certainly configurable. We fear change. But I'm always willing to change my process. The only thing, you don't always have to be doing the most efficient thing ever, and Lord knows I never am, but I think the only thing about having a growth mindset is being open to change. I do that all the time at work, which I've been doing the same job largely for like the past 5 years. And so, you know, it's easy enough to like fall into like, this is how we've always done it. This is how we do it. And I think it's just really good. If you can keep a growth mindset, if you can stay open to change, I think that's very good, very strong. And it doesn't have to be much, you know? Why is this different than what I'm expecting? Zero. Oh, 22. 44. Save as. Call this low light icon. Level 1. I think they added some better texture filtering options so you can get nearest neighbor to work now. Okay, good. Okay, good. Because, yeah, that was part of the reason I started drawing my own panels, is because I just couldn't get the built-in panels to be pixel perfect. Couldn't do it. Which is fair. They're being, like, dynamically generated. But it kind of turned me off from trying to do that using panels. Everyone's having a happy Saturday here. We are chilling. trying not to be crushed by just the weight of our to-do list here. What happened? Oh, I replaced the word icon. Worst part of the trailer stuff is staging scenes you know you'll never use again. Yeah. Yeah, that starts to get annoying and tedious and complicated once you have a camera. Because like for me, I can just play the game and then screen capture what I want. And then just edit it. I don't have to stage anything, right? In fact, I can't really. No, the best I could do would be to like set up certain interactions, which is probably something I might want to do eventually. Have the ability, have like a little debug thing where I can like load cards. Like I could just fetch whatever card and like put it in my hand. Probably something I eventually want to do. All right, so we've got all of our little texture atlases. Kind of need to put these into this script. Actually, we just need an icon thing here. Need some kind of icon scene. Well, we're just testing, so I'm just going to test with a couple of things. We also need one more thing. We need this little arrow, or this little where is it? We need an arrow, which is easy. That can be 8x8. We should probably make this also 8x8. Why is this driving me insane? This to this? Like this? Yeah, it is. Okay. 16x8. Yeah, you're doing point of view camera for basically everything since it's meant to be mostly unedited gameplay. You have some sizzle reel type stuff. You made special scenes for it. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. The most fun I had, I think, setting that up was when I was making the cover photo for a Grave Escape. I had a lot of fun with that. I did that like as a photo shoot. I wonder if I have a photo of that. Like the photo shoot version. But it was when I was doing this game cover. Oh, where'd it go? This one, Grave Escape. This was really fun because this was like staged up as like a little photo shoot. I really enjoyed this one. Camera's actually in a grave. The only way I was able to get this shot is if I actually moved the camera below the ground. You can kind of see, because you can see the edge of the hole in the ground here. Very fun. Not obvious to anyone, but this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. But I would hate to have to do this in video. It's easy when you set up a photo shoot, because you just snap the shot and you're like done. Much harder to do that with moving parts. For sure. Why am I having a hard time here? It's like this, is it? Yeah, okay. Yeah. We'll say turn. We'll say turn tracker. We can say turn order. Pellets. Right, Atlas? We'll call them pellets. I think that's funny. I think it's a nice little Pac-Man reference. So we're just gonna mock this up with some texture rects and just see what the behavior's like. We'll have to build the actual node structure thing to actually be able to do this, but for now we'll just put some texture rects in here and see how the system handles it. So we'll start with an arrow. In fact, so we had this turn folder. Actually going to take that out. I'm going to create a new Atlas texture here. We're going to call it the turn order pellet. Well, we call it the turn order arrow. Call this one an arrow. Delete this folder. That did not make it. See if it lets me find it this time. There it is. Whoa. 8 by 8. There we go. Alright, so this one will be with the arrow. We're just going to mock this up, see how this works. Why? What happened to keep size? This thing needs some stretch instructions or something. This one doesn't know what to do. Oh, not the HBox container. The turn tracker doesn't know what to do. Axis stretch, horizontal stretch. Tile. Tile is what I want, I think. Tile fit. Okay, so we have it set to tile. We don't actually want that to draw center. Okay, so why is this? What if I put 2 of these? 3 of these? Why you no do anything? It's not a container, so it won't resize. Well, then what is it good for? And why does it exist? Panel container. I'm being dramatic, don't mind me. So I can't even use a 9-box patch. I have to use a panel container and set it up as a 9-box patch. Can I just put the 9-box patch in the panel container? Seemingly the answer is no. Yeah, I already kind of regret trying to do this. I have not had any success with style boxes. Style box texture. There doesn't seem to be a way to tile. Okay, tile. So it just acts as a 9 patch rect. It doesn't. This is rough. I'm super confused why 9 patch rect doesn't do anything. Super confused by that. But again, I have a low opinion about control nodes, so I'm not that surprised. It's fine, we'll open the documentation on the style boxes or something. Well, here's the texture. It looks like it's trying to do some region stuff, but maybe not. The texture's empty for some reason. 9 patch rect. Why are you tiling this? Sub-region. Maybe tiling was a mistake. Texture margins. Yeah, we have to look this up because none of this is helpful. Panel container. Container keeps child within a style box. Style box. Style box. Abstract base class for drawing stylized boxes for UI elements. It's abstract, so we have a specific one that we're interested in. We're interested in style box texture. A texture-based 9-patch style box in a way similar to 9-patch rect. Style box performs a 3x3 scaling of a texture, where only in the center cell is fully stretched. Makes it possible to design bordered styles regardless of the style box's size. I mean, this seems promising. Yeah, it seems like 9-patch rects are totally static. Like I think I could manually size and position it. That kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? Increases the bottom margin of the 3x3 texture box. A higher value means more of the source texture is considered to be part of the bottom border of the 3x3 box. A higher value means more of the source texture is considered to be part of the bottom border of the 3x3 box. Okay. So let's put this up to 12. Put them all at 12. I kind of see what it's doing here. The widget is less than helpful in terms of the way it's decided to draw this, but that looks correct. Somehow now there's like a thing inside the thing. Okay. Let's put this out here. Let's forget about this. That looks like it's right. It looks like it's right. So far, so good. Make this the turn tracker and forget this thing. Okay, so the idea was sound. The 9 patch rect itself was totally useless, but it seems fine if you're trying to make like a static a static page or something, you know? But that's very strange. Very strange. Weird behavior. So if I can define this manually, I could actually use a different sized texture for this, but that's fine. Doesn't matter. Let's see. So why is this being squooshed? Hey, the retro engine beaming up for the 5th month straight. Hey, retro engine, how's it going? What have you been up to? Why are you being squooshed? I guess you want to be... We want this to be center top. This is a container sizing, transform. The separation is causing me some problems here. Nope. Whoa. Keep aspect centered. On the texture rect. Yeah. Some kind of keep. Keep centered seems good. Keep aspect centered. I don't totally know what the difference is between all of these, but you know. Keep centered. Texture keeps its original size, stays centered in the node's bounding rectangle. Keep aspect centered. Scale the texture to fit the node's bounding rectangle. Center it and maintain its aspect ratio. Yeah, keep centered seems fine. We don't actually want it to scale ever. Although maybe we do. I'd be interested to see how that works. Yeah, if the whole viewport is being scaled, it'll probably scale with the viewport. Otherwise, it's probably fine. So let's just add some more stuff in here, yeah? So we'll put a icon holder in this one. Icon. We'll do like a highlight icon. Normal. This is interesting. This feels like it's taller all of a sudden. Why are you so tall? Why aren't you like 36? Why are you 46? Kind of weird. Kind of weirding me out, man. Where are you getting this size from? Content margins. Can we make it less? Apparently not. Oh. Interesting. One, two, three. Yeah. Probably also want that to be 4. Content margin. 2. Okay, will you let me make you smaller now? There you go. Oh, okay, so we do this, and now I change this. Hey, congrats, Arnio. That's great. Okay, this is great. Why are you no longer centered? Also, why is the separation between these so much? That we can fix, though. Like that. So this is cool. It's not... I guess it's fine if it's for it to stretch horizontal. I don't really want it to stretch vertical. Stretching horizontal is probably fine as long as the corners retain. So we're making a little turn tracker thing for the center. We're mocking it up. We're gonna make another one of these. This one will be the pellet. So not exactly what I want. Further than I want. I guess I could just shrink the size of this. You like that? And that gives me the distance that I want. Just kind of make sure that saves. Next object's gonna be cannons. Cannons sound fun. I think everyone loves a good cannon. Is this the distance that I have in our little mock-up? 3? Yeah. Okay. Alright, well let's just add pairs of these until we get to where we want to go, yeah? Well, that behaved weird. It's always tricky to mess around at the end of these. Okay, this seems to be working. Okay, so some kind of 9 patch was the answer, just not the actual 9 patch rect, which is useless. This is close to what I want. It's not exactly. Like, the margin on the right is a little less than I want, but that's fine because I can control the margin on the right. But what if we move the arrow? So let's say we get rid of this and we move the arrow. Yeah. Yeah, this should be good. This should be good. This should be kind of what I want. So the arrow is going to move around, essentially. I mean, what we'll probably do is we'll just swap these interstitial textures. So we would just make this one. We'd just swap this with the arrow. And then this would go back to being a pellet. And that's kind of how we would go. I could do some recoloring. Like, we could have a darker version of this for ones that already went. Like, I wouldn't be against using, like, the purple or something. Do something. I think that'll be all right. We have room for about 9, which is all we said we need. Yeah, duplicating multiple acts so strangely in Godot. Yeah, it's weird why. It's weird why it insists on being so strange. This needs to be down 1. So I changed this a little bit. Is this not totally lined up? Oh, that is going to drive me absolutely insane. No, it has to be, right? This has to be lined up. It doesn't look like it. In fact, it looks like it definitively isn't. Oh, that's going to drive me crazy. How is that even possible? This is at like sub-pixel. This is at like some kind of sub-pixel position. Oh, no. No, it's not. It can't be, right? Like, it literally can't. Okay, it looked like some of those values gave weird sub-pixel positions. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe that's just an illusion. It sure looks like it, though. No, that's good. It's good. It's correct. Illusion, Michael. You can tell because at least there's a ruler. Sometimes my glasses have this chromatic aberration that kind of weirds me out with this stuff. But yeah, that's 2 notches. It's exactly 2 notches, and 2 notches is a pixel here. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's what we want to see. Weird that it's an odd number. It's probably because of the extra space I left here, so that these were the same size. Probably has to do with these extra pixels. I don't know. Who knows? Honestly, never noticed the ruler before. I use it rarely, but it is very good that it exists. All right, we're heading into ads. Man, how 2 hours have already gone by. Incredible. Time flies. All right, this isn't exactly what I want. This is close. It's close. It's damned close. So we move this one back out here. Make a copy of this one and move it here. All of these relationships are maintained. So this is a little farther than I want, but that's okay. It's staying centered. Looks like there's room. Let's just complete the set. Complete the sequence. See what it looks like overall when it's full. Then we can look at how we're actually going to implement that practically. Yeah, definitely saving us some trouble doing it this way. The fact that it resizes itself, this panel container, definitely helpful. Definitely helpful. I have to figure out whose job it is to like control this thing. Yet one more aspect, you know? Yet one more aspect of everything. Hopefully because you're having fun. Yeah. Sure. 6. 7. 8. One more. So this is the worst case scenario, which is we're at a new combat round and both party rosters are completely full. So this is it at its largest point. It's a little unfortunate. Makes it kind of hard to use the walls at the top for literally anything, but it's fine. Looks okay. Retro Engine, amazing what you've done with such lower res and number of pixels and reduced colors. Looks cool. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, this can't. It's gotta be panel container. What have you been up to? Retro. Yeah, I think the UI styling has turned out pretty strong. I picked a couple of colors from the palette, from the sprite palette, along with one additional color, which I'm using as like the background color, our like little purplish tint we've got here. This is the only color that I pulled from somewhere else. Every other color comes from the sprite pack. So it's very cohesive, which helps. Positionally, this is looking okay. What if I open a character sheet? Okay. Not bad. A little tight, but you know, what isn't in this UI? I think this is fine. I think this is all right. The trick is we're going to need to make these little interactable little icons. Probably want to do a little highlight the same way we're highlighting the roster. Like this thing where we show the linked entities. Hey, Cerulean May. Gleep Glorp. And a Gleep Glorp to you as well. Happy Saturday. You're not up to much creatively. You're going through redundancy. No. But it means you can retire early? Ooh, oh yeah. That sounds good. Early retirement sounds good. Happy Sunday. Oh, happy Sunday to you. It's still Saturday here. But a happy Sunday to you, for sure. Okay, I like this. I like the turn tracker. It's pretty clear what's going on. We can reposition the elements really easily. Kind of our first attempt at a dynamic UI element, which is interesting. It's hopeful. It gives us hope for some of this other stuff. Not much of this other stuff can be really styled like that, but this is probably the model we will use for like dialog boxes. Dialog boxes will probably need to use a panel container, because a dialog box is not going to be statically sized the way like the party roster or like a character sheet or whatever it is. Yeah, the hotkey for end turn is going to be useful so that you can end the turn even while you have something like this opened. All right, so let's look to see if we can populate these icons with the contents of the rosters. That would be the next thing to do. You probably want to know... what the turn order is when you deploy. Probably want to know that. I wonder what should happen if you play a character during the deployment phase. So maybe we don't want to generate the turn order until after you deploy. I feel like that would be good to know. Does it make sense to control the turn order with the party roster order? Because then you could reorder the turns. You could redo the turn order by like repositioning your tab in the roster. That's probably a cool thing to do. I don't have any kind of the system that you would need in place to be able to do it, but that'll be interesting to think about. What are you working on? Oh yeah, this is a roguelike deck builder where you draft an RPG party. And you know, go dungeoning. So the conceit of this game is that your deck is your party. It's like your equipment, your characters' abilities. And so it's about having the right characters with the right equipment and the right abilities in the right situation. And then you go through and fight on this little turn-based battle map. We're in the deployment part here. We're setting stuff up so that we can move from deployment to actual battle. I think I'm okay with random turn order stuff. I think I'm okay with any form of input randomness. So I think I think I want to not show the turn tracker until after deployment. So if you pick your deployment, it's going to be more based around more general things of like, oh, I probably want the wizard in the back. I probably want the knight in the front protecting the wizard. The ranger, maybe I put on the flanks or something, or also in the back. And the bard is like, I don't know, the bard is like supportive. Obviously, it'll depend on what the terrain and everything is like. And then you're not quite sure what the order everyone's going to go in, and I think that's okay. I think during deployment, this will get replaced with like that deployment phase banner, which will give you a little more information about what's happening. Get commit made. Oh, Lord. Get commit made. Video posted. You can try to sleep now. Awesome, Arneo. Yeah, ship it. And then get some rest. All right, so how do we build this thing? How do we build this thing out? We're going to need to make some nodes that represent these. I wonder what I want to call this. Like a delimiter or something. So we'll make a new scene. It'll be one of these. It'll be not a control node, but instead it'll be a texture button. Actually, how is this going to work? How do we do this in the character sheet? We have a control, and we have a button, and we have a texture rect, which is probably on ignore. Yeah, so it's ignore. We have this. Stop. But we also have this. So why didn't I just do it like nest the icon into here? Why did I do this as separate things? I'll probably go back and refactor that later. But for this, let's be a little smarter about it. So here we can say we can call this a tracker slot. And this will be a texture button. Highlight icon. We'll add to this a tracker. Well, we'll add to this a texture rect, which will not interact. And we'll just load like a little human knight guy. Why are you so ginormous? There you go. I think we'll save this, actually. I'm going to call this a... card is probably the wrong word. I'm going to say, like, icon frame, maybe? Or button? Icon button. And this can be just like the icon sprite. I think frame is good. Button frame, I don't know. I would like to switch to using this as like a built-in thing. Make like a scene that I can actually reuse this. Oh, you know what you have to do is sound design. Sound design is good. Sounds like a lot of work. Icons. We'll say icon button. So I'd like to replace all of the things here with this. So what does this script do? Equip button, extends texture button. Equip button toggled. Equip card res slot. Could probably overwrite the button toggled. Connect, untoggled. Untoggled, toggle on. Interesting. We don't really need any of that for this. Maybe we do, actually. Kind of want to know about the on hover. How are we doing that with the roster buttons? I actually don't know. Party tabs. Let's go look at the party tabs. Party roster tab. So this isn't set up as a button. It actually has a separate highlight. So this actually has more complicated behavior. You're tired of your free sounds placeholders? Probably do a sound design pass for the trailer anyways. Yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah, I'd be more concerned about the ambience of my trailer than I would be about like the accuracy of like game mechanic displays or something. Like sound is everything, right? You're pretty good at sound design, so I'm not terribly worried. For me, I'm gonna have to find stuff. I can do music. I haven't done much sound design. But I'm just gonna. This game is gonna be made 100% with assets. So I just don't. I know I don't have time for anything more than that. Do these have shadows built into them? If I want to go look at the sprite. Yeah, they do. Okay. Hard to tell. Oh, they're different though. I'll fix that. Gotta bring them in line with our other ones. Whoop, whoop. This is gonna be tedious, but that's okay. We're chilling. Hey, Commander. How's it going? Funky. Yeah, this is a good one. Funky. Oop. Uh-oh. I don't know if we're totally going to be able to populate this stuff. This tracker thing, but that's okay because we're not really ready. I need to create a registry of like enemy characters, which means I need to make a shit ton of enemy cards. So we need to be able to generate a list of opponents too. Which means I have to come up with like challenge ratings and which I won't know until I've made abilities for the enemies and blah, 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 blah. God, there's so much to do just to get this thing basically playable. We'll start small. We'll start small. As one does. Well, at least we didn't need to use this. You're doing good? You just took a 2-hour nap? Nice. A good nap is very excellent. Good. Can't really tell the difference there, but it's there. So yeah, what I want to do is I want to populate this with the members of the roster. I guess I don't need to do that yet, like I said. We need to do that when we go into battle. When we leave this deployment phase and actually go into the turn, that's when we need to generate this turn order thing and populate it. I'm looking to chill a bit after this stream. Pick a video game and try to just play for a few hours. I do that so rarely. I have such a hard time getting into the flow of a game, but I'm gonna try. Not totally sure what I'm going to play. It might be Baldur's Gate 3. I like went through character creation and then like stopped. I'll probably need to recreate that character. I gotta refactor this character sheet soon. But we don't care. We don't care about that right now. What we want to do is just set up this icon button. So we can use it. So that this not next turn screen. So that this tracker thing. Use it. So this is a dynamic turn tracker. As we like remove elements from it, it'll resize and realign. That's honestly the main reason I wanted to do it dynamically, is I don't want to have to realign it to the center myself. It's doing a good job. I didn't think about the fact that the stretch-wise didn't need to tile, because it's just flat lines. Like the stretching can be whatever. As long as the corners are crisp and pixel perfect, you won't notice. I'm gonna delete this down to 4. Since 4 is what we're gonna have. I mean, I'll delete it down to nothing and we'll populate it is what we'll do, but I think it's all right. I like it. What I'm actually probably gonna do is delete all of the, well, yeah, I'll delete all of them. Yeah, I'll delete these. Oh, interesting. It actually doesn't know what to do when I deleted all of them. It's confused. And what I'm gonna do is we're gonna save this out. Oh, I guess I don't need to do that. I can just leave it. It doesn't need to be a scene. But we will hide it. Because I also need like a deployment phase. Little infographic. I'll say deploy info or banner, maybe deploy banner. We'll have a little banner here for when we're in the deployment phase. Nice, you feel like you rarely ever just sit down and play something. Yeah, it's tough. I can do it for like an hour. I like short games for that. Like I'll play Sol Sesto has pissed me off lately, but like I'd play a run of Sol Sesto, or I'd play, you know, a Mechabellum match, or how many dudes is a little long? Oh my glob. We got a raid alert. Hide the code. Developer Ezra coming in hot. How's it going, Ezra? How was the stream? Are you still doing your series? Your series of, like, covering topics? Raid. Indeed. Commander, you had the idea that you'd work on game dev, like, 2 to 3 hours after work each day. Coming up here just in order to keep a consistent schedule for game dev, which you pretty much never had. Worth a shot to see if it helped finish projects. Yeah, I think that's good. I think you have to create a schedule like that. I don't think you can do it seriously if you're just like, I'll do it when I feel like it. And I think that's true for everything, right? Whether you're talking about like a exercise routine or a serious project like a game dev project or whatever. Yeah, you gotta set a schedule. And keeping the schedule, that's the hard part. Hello. We concluded today the optimization learning. Oh, nice. Did you write a whole entity component system from scratch? Hey, OX Camus. How's it going? Camus? Ezra, you got to ECS plus rendering server plus multi-mesh, which is pretty speedy. Yeah, that's pretty fast. I spent a long time doing my ECS and deciding how I wanted to do my rendering. That's exciting. I gotta go check out those VODs. I'd be interested to see what you did. Welcome, Raiders. This is Digital Iliad. We are working on a roguelike deck builder where you draft an RPG party. We're wrapping up some UI stuff. Right now we're in like the deployment, an open-ended deployment phase, which is like a pre-combat round phase. There are no enemies deployed, but we're just kind of working on tightening up some of the UI around that stuff. I was gonna make a little banner. I'll do that in a minute. Yeah, this is a little card game where the conceit is that your deck is your party. Your deck is like your equipment, your heroes, their abilities. So it's about having the right characters with the right gear for the right encounters. You're great at scheduling things, but it's hard to follow through. It is very hard to follow through. After work might be good. Yeah, it could be. I'm a before work guy. That's not what I do here, but I think that would be my preferred scenario. Ezra, you spun the wheel on the next topic, and it was shader for dummies. Hell yeah, that's a great topic. It sounds like I'm going to be watching these series. You kind of just ended up having a glorified structure of array in GDScript. Oh, that's cool. All right, that's fine. Interesting to do something in GDScript where it sounds like you're bypassing like the node structure and like using servers. I ended up doing something like that, but it was in C# because I had just totally split the simulation layer off from the engine, mainly so I could use structs. It's definitely easier if you can use structs, right? Game's looking great. You just hired a UI designer for your game before the demo release. Oh, nice. How's that going? Yeah, you're also doing a roguelike, I think. I remember seeing bits of it. Doing some serious business. You gotta get going. Yeah, no worries. We can catch up later. Thanks, Ezra. Thank you for the raid. Hate with that shout out. See you around. Have a good weekend. Hey, George. Thanks for coming in to the raid here. Commander, you have to be work at 7 a.m. Oh, yeah, no worries. It all depends. I just found for me that, like, you kind of figure out what your best time is for work. And I learned that my best, most focused work time is, like, the morning. And it's unfortunate because that's not when I stream or do game dev. I stream and do game dev in the early afternoon, which isn't the worst for me in terms of energy levels, but I definitely go down. Like the morning I'm at my best, and then early afternoon I'm like okay, and that's currently when I do my game dev. And then late afternoon to early evening, I am not in good shape. That's usually when I'm back to doing my day job. So my day job gets my best time and my worst time, and then that means game dev kind of gets the mid, which is okay. That's what it is, you know? That's what it is. Is it optimal? No. You're excited to see what they turn up with their first pass of design? Yeah, sure. That'd be great. I'd be interested to see what they say what they say. I don't know anything about UI UX. I kind of just cobbled this together. Take it easy, Ezra. Retro, you agree? You found yours is about 9:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. Yeah, that's crazy. That's totally possible too. I think I tried to do that for a while. And I actually do on days that a few days out of the week I have like game dev co-working events at night, like virtual co-working events. Those are all after dinner. And I can be productive after dinner. It's a bit of a struggle. But I think it's actually a little better than my late afternoon, early evening time. I think I actually get a little bit of energy back after dinner. And I can usually get a few hours of work done if I have to. All right, let's make a little banner. Make a little banner. Commander, you're fine from like 7 to 9, then you have a big dip for 2 hours or so. You get back, it goes back up after lunch. Yeah. Retro, you like the dark, cozy and focus. Yeah, my partner's like that. My partner's a night owl, and I'm like a morning person, and it's interesting. It's an interesting life that we live. Cause yeah, she is like, that's what her peak of energy is like at night, after dinner usually. She's like ready to do activities, ready to talk, ready to like whatever, and I'm like winding down after dinner. I'm like so tired usually by that point. But yeah, everyone has kind of their own rhythm, their own natural rhythm. And yeah, if you're lucky, you've had enough opportunity to experiment and figure out what works for you. And life doesn't always, you know, let you work based on that, but it's nice when it does, right? It's nice when it does. You're gonna head out? Yeah. Good hanging. Good hanging, Commander. Have a good weekend. Good luck with keeping up game dev. All right, so we've got this little icon button. Kind of want to call this the icon frame. Like frame and image. Let's say icon button frame. We could call this like the icon button image. Something like that. I think that's reasonable. Save this file. Wherever it is. I gotta do some organizing. I've been terrible about organizing. Is this in the icon folder? Guess it is. Reckon so. Thanks for trying to post updates in Discord. Yeah, hell yeah. Love to see it. We love to see it. All right, let's add a little deploy banner back here. I kind of want to do this in 2 phases. I want to have like a regular... I think I have it as one piece right now. So yeah, this is like the deployment phase sprite. And it's like deployment phase. Freely move your party members. I kind of want this to be 2 different things. Like I want to have a version with just the deployment phase banner. And then if you mouse over it, it will give you this additional piece of information. It's kind of what I want to do. Kind of what I want to do. How much space do we need to just have this, though? This is pretty big is the problem. That's the main problem here. Let's save this as a new thing. Say deployment phase. Instead of sprite, we'll say sprite atlas. And we'll see what we can do in terms of sizing, resizing. Like that. It's probably okay. And same deal, we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 38. I can live with 38. So we're going to move this part up. gonna need to make this bigger. Like that. Seems fine. I'll probably make this smaller, honestly. Actually, I kind of like that. We can still move this up, though. This is like way too much. Way too much free space here. What do we do elsewhere? That's always like how I figure this out. Like where else are we setting these boundaries? Like here. That's 3, and this is what, 6? Yeah, that seems reasonable. Here it's 11. So we bring it in by 5. Okay. Doable. Is that too tight? Probably. I don't want to bring this too far up. It's probably too low. It's probably fine. Probably fine. See if there's room. Did I calculate this correctly? Probably not. But let's find out. What do we want in terms of distance here? That's too much for sure. That's about right. That's weird. So I think this is 38, which is about as big as I would possibly want it to be here. I don't want to go much further than this. 38, it's okay. It feels a little unbalanced, if I'm being honest. We have a few extra pixels we could use. What if we move it down? What if we make it 40? I think I could live with 40. Move this down a little. Try to make it a little more balanced. I didn't realize how unbalanced it felt. That's better. Are these equal? If this is equal distance, then I'll feel pretty good. Or close to. Close to. $12 and $10. It doesn't feel right. Or more specifically, well, I guess this looks like 11 because of the purple. This is 10. I think this is fine. I think I like this. And then that means that that's 8. This is 6. So this needs to move up 2. We don't really have 2. 2 to move up, but that's fine. We'll move up 1. We'll move this part of the text down. And that should make up the difference there. That's fine. I think this was a little close before, but it's probably okay now. That's 4. Maybe this should also be 4. It's a little too close. It's better. Okay, I think I can live with this. We need to fix the shadow around the outside, around the outside, around the outside. Hey, K-Cog. Sorry, I missed your message. It's been quiet over on the YouTube. Hope you're doing well. There's a lot of excitement. We got a raid. I don't know why I'm bothering to do this. There's going to be a mask over this, but I guess that'll be a separate layer, so I might as well do this. It's gonna be kind of weird. I haven't quite done a button with mixed text size before. We will see how that feels. Actually, I think this needs to be up here, right? If I want to do it like this. Which I kind of do. Going to one of those board game parlors tomorrow. Should be fun. Spend the afternoon playing board games. Eating good food. Hanging out with some friends. Should be a good time. Alright, I guess strictly speaking, I should do this as well. Might look a little weird. We don't highlight the small text. It's kind of the convention I've quietly adopted here. Good food sounds good. It often does. Often does. I had good food today for breakfast. Got some decent food for dinner that I made yesterday. Some pasta. I got some pesto to add to it. Tried to do an aglio olio thing. It kind of ended up too dry. I try to fix it with some pesto sauce. Kind of a pasta monster. I've also got a homemade cinnamon roll. My partner is good at baking. Probably gonna eat that after this with a nice cup of tea. Soothe my throat. Just always a bit tired after a stream. It's usually not that bad. Sometimes I notice it though. Imagine if I get a publisher on this game. I mean, I know that's not going to happen. Just imagine this funny scenario, and they're like, "We'd like to localize it into like these three like different languages," and I'll be like, "Oh no, they don't know. They don't know that my UI is hard coded." It's fine. This game seems like it's good enough to keep working on. We can fix stuff like that. This feels weird. I guess that's balanced though. So yeah, it'll be like this normally, and then if you mouse over it, it's going to do this. It'll show you some text. I guess what I'll do is I'll also have the pressed version of it. Just because the player will be able to do that. It's not going to make anything happen, but so this is 56. So is that 112? No, it's 102. No, not 102. 142? No, 152. Small number arithmetic. The most difficult form of math. I guess I want a focused one too, so I need another 56 on top of this, which would be 208. Some really nice chill jazz we got going. I dig it. But Doctor, I'm Pagliacci. Yeah. Aren't we all? I have a to-do list that is on for the next few weeks. It's only got a handful of things on it, but man, this is going to be a stretch. I absolutely have to get this game playable by my next deadline, though. Absolutely have to. I know what I could do. No. Yeah. There's a shortcut I could take here. Might as well. Oh. No, that's fine. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I did that correctly. Yeah. So this button's not going to do anything. But it will let you know what's going on. Deploy phase button. That's probably what we'll call this. Maybe deployment button. It's kind of incidental that it's a button, but deployment button. No, I wonder if I could use texture progress bar for my for my idea about having the roster tabs act as health bars. To try that. I'm still skeptical about texture stretching, but panel container worked out better than I thought it would, so maybe it'd be okay. Maybe it would be okay. Let's make these textures. We're going to need a little... Wow, that barely fits. That's actually kind of crazy. I think it's too big. But it's probably fine. I could tighten it up a little if I wanted to reduce the margins, which I kind of do. Try to tighten it up a little. What do we think? Probably bring that up by 2. I don't want to really mess with that. 12 by 10. Yeah, we literally could bring this up by 2. I think it's gonna look a little unbalanced, if I'm being honest, but I'm gonna try it. It's okay. To recreate that relationship with all the other layers. Tedious. Actually, I guess let's confirm that that's what I want first and then put in the effort. Seems like a good call. 38. No. Change this to 3. Yeah, that's better. It's a small change, but it's better. Feels better. It feels a little unbalanced. But it is 10 and 10. So I don't know. Might be the case where what we need to do is still just lower the text by 1 pixel. Visually, it's in the middle, but it just feels kind of unbalanced. Tighten up those margins in Q2. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's better. Feels good to be working on game feel. You've been feeling something lacking lately. You think that's it? Game feel? It could be. Yeah, my problem is my approach to game dev is to kind of just sit down and just work on whatever the next thing is that feels wrong. And like that kind of works okay. But it does make it hard to like focus on what really needs to happen, because I might get distracted by something that feels bad but is not important. That's my struggle. So I actually struggle with like the opposite. I struggle with like putting feel aside and like working on more substantial things. We're gonna have to recopy some of this. All right, so what are we doing in terms of spacing now? So that's 38. So now what's this? 56. Could it be less? The answer is yes. Could be at least one less, possibly more. Kind of don't like that. Challenge is identifying what's wrong. Not getting distracted chasing ghosts. Yeah. It can be tough. It's been a mistake not to have like really strict or rigid like to-do lists the last few months. It's definitely contributed to the missed deadlines. But I like it sometimes. Sometimes it's the only way to really unfocus your brain and kind of just identify some things that are wrong that you really would, if you had just been checking items off a to-do list every time, it can be hard to like identify those sometimes. Kind of need some like, it's like shower thought time, right? Like you need some time to like unfocus your brain and just be like, what is the feel of this game right now? That can be helpful. It can also slow everything down though. Like there's some good game dev advice I heard, which I think is very true to an extent, which is that like one of the most important parts things wall clock time is a really important part of design, which is like a weird way of saying that like just the passage of time is like a part of design, and it can be an important part of design. Just like sitting with something and like messing around with it and like trying to feel where it's going and what it is and what it wants to be, and just like letting time pass and sitting with that can be important. And that's tough. That's how like exploration, there's like exploration mode and exploit mode, right? There's like times when you're trying to explore a space, and then there's times when you're trying to exploit knowledge that you have, and like you really can't do both at the same time. All right, so this will be like this, and then we'll have, so the one problem with this, actually no, this might be desirable behavior. I was gonna say the problem with this is that the custom minimum size is not going to change as this button changes size, but I actually think that's desirable in this case. That's a problem when we're switching from like icons to like buttons like we do with undo redo, but I think in this case that's actually going to be a feature, not a bug. So this is deployment button hover. starts. Whoa, these are different sizes. Wow. Why are these different sizes? Merd. Well, that's it. That's what it would be right there. All right, that should be right. Yeah. And then okay, so theoretically, if we plug this in, should get some different behavior here. Hover, rest, focus. That's not right. Okay, that's kind of annoying. I don't totally understand how resource saving works sometimes. Sometimes it works exactly the way I expect it to work, and other times I'm just like, what? What? All right, let's see if this kind of does what I want it to do. Sideways and straight have the same number of letters, and that upsets you for some reason. But they definitely don't take up the same amount of space. So yeah, like normally it would be a flaw that the bottom part of this button doesn't register input, but I actually think in this case it's quite good. This doesn't do anything though. Maybe it could. Maybe it could. To like further explain what the deployment phase is like. We could also do this without it being a button. We could do it in more of a highlight kind of way. But I think this is fine. You saw them next to each other in a monoface space font. Yeah, that would be confusing. All right, I think we have to wrap it up now. We're going to find someone maybe to raid. This has been a nice day, though. Some chill dev. Chill game dev. Who's even on at this time? Hey, Trevoron. We might raid Trevoron back. They raided us yesterday. You're doing some Pico 8 stuff. That's very cool. Yeah, that's where we're going. Trevoron's great. Trevoron does a lot of audio, game dev, and game audio, music. They're doing some Pico 8 stuff right now. That seems pretty good. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this being a button now that I've got it. I kind of want it to work more like this. I actually don't know. But yeah, this has been good. It's been a great weekend so far. I look forward to a day of rest here, but we'll be back at it next week. We'll be working on actions, enemy AI stuff. We'll be working on actually getting characters to play turns, do damage, start working on abilities and attacks and all that good stuff. We definitely don't have enough time to implement all of that, but you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do except ship it? So thanks everyone so much for watching. Hopefully you'll join me here in this raid. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you all next time. Bye.